Easy. Is anybody else out there sick of the sight of Greta Thunberg? That 16-year-old girl from Sweden who thinks that the British people are all going to take very kindly to being lectured to by a schoolgirl. It's funny, I was watching Question Time. I don't know why I watch that programme, because I always end up going off on one when I do. But last week, as if by magic, there was Caroline Lucas on the panel. You know, that irritating leader of the Green Party that sounds like a yapping dog that won't shut up. No. Yeah. Well, the first question that came on was something along the lines of that should we feel embarrassed as a country if it takes a 16-year-old girl from Sweden to spur us into acting on climate change. Now, let's look at this from my point of view, from what you might call a right-winger's point of view for a second here. My personal feelings on climate change are not really relevant, but I'll state them anyway, is that I believe that yes, it is happening, but it is a natural phenomenon. And I know that figures in the past, just recent past, have stated that Britain puts out just 2% of the world's CO2 emissions. In other words, that if we were all to die from the Black Plague and there would be not a single carbon atom by human activity emitted, then the world would show 2% less going into the atmosphere. That's how insignificant it is. And of course, last week we had the middle-class eco-warriors that go by the name of Extinction Rebellion, all having their little junket by bringing London to a standstill. And then Greta turned up, and they treated her like she was the bloody Messiah. She gets up on a stage and starts talking, and they're all there yelling her name, "We love you, we love you." And if that's not bad enough, she then even went to Parliament and was indulged by the leaders of all parties. Even Michael Gove indulged her. Now, she's a child, a 16-year-old schoolgirl. She doesn't know how the world works. And to answer that question on Question Time is, should we feel embarrassed? Well, I'll tell you what we should feel embarrassed about. We should feel embarrassed that we are giving a 16-year-old child airtime who knows nothing about the world, and we're giving her airtime. And the politicians so far, they seem to be jumping through the hoops that she lays down for them. At the same time, 17.4 million people are willfully ignored. That's what we should be embarrassed about. Now, I've no problem with a 16-year-old girl from having big dreams, big ideas. Nothing wrong with that. But when you enter into an adult world, you've got to have adult responsibilities and adult facts to back it up with. Now, I think that they're showing allowances for her because she's got Asperger's, but I'm sorry, but that doesn't work. It doesn't wash. Donald Trump, when he pulled out of the Paris Agreement, did so because he understands how the world turns. He understands that we need to balance it against economics. And he obviously saw that America was getting the shit end of the stick. It was paying billions of dollars when effectively that America, although are a larger producer than us, but they're not the biggest. The biggest is China. And everybody's rounding on Donald Trump, calling him a climate change denier. No, he's not. He's balancing the need of the American people. People need jobs to live. We understand that there are things need to be done, but in Britain, let me just give you an idea for those of you who don't live where I live. I come from the north of England. For all of you that live in the south of England, it's quite different geographically from here. Where I live, I'm sandwiched between the Derbyshire Peak District to the south and the Yorkshire Dales and the North Pennines to the north. We've got the North Yorkshire Moors to the east. We've got the West Pennine Moors to the west. And the whole area is covered in wind farms. Everywhere you look, they are everywhere. Now, I understand that we need to generate electricity renewable sources if possible. I get that, but they are everywhere, man. It's going to get to the stage soon where nobody's going to be able to enjoy the country. They go walking in the country like I do. I'm a country boy. Country boy. And we can't go anywhere. Well, we can at the minute, but it's going to get to the stage where we can't go anywhere. Now, I understand that the geographical makeup of this area makes it a prime area for wind farms, or land wind farms. Obviously down south, probably a lot of them are out to sea. But this is the reality, that we are doing so much more than other developed countries in tackling climate change and bringing down greenhouse gases. So, I've got some advice for you, Greta. When you came to Britain, you didn't walk, you didn't cycle, you came by train. Now, it's better than Emma Thompson, who travelled all the way from America on a plane. But trains run on either diesel or electricity, which has to be generated. So, here's a bit of advice for you, Greta. If you want to get to the heart of a problem, you've got to go to where the heart is. You destroy the heart, you destroy the rest of the body. So, either take yourself off to China or go to hell. Because the people in this country, the working class people in this country, are sick of being lectured to. And we just about take it from our politicians, career politicians. But I am fucked if I am going to be lectured to by a 16-year-old schoolgirl who's wet behind the ears, who has no idea how the world works. When you've got a degree in physics, little girl, then I might start to take it a little bit more seriously. But until then, go to hell and get an education. Until next time, easy.